Western perspective, it's not easy to really get into the underpinnings of what is yoga. We always feel like we're scratching the surface. And then when you get into the other traditions of the martial arts, of Shaolin Kung Fu, it's also hidden in all the secret practices. And maybe you'll be lucky enough to have part of this, but most of this is not written down. It's an oral tradition. So again, it's hard for the Western mind to grasp these practices and bring them together. But there is a connection in the thread. From a very early age, I was 15 when I started practicing Tai Chi, and at the same time I also was inspired to practice yoga. And there was, in the beginning, the meeting ground was that meditation. Of course, all the traditions aspire to sitting meditation, reflection, contemplativeness, bringing that grace and ease into whatever you're doing. So whether it's a vinyasa or a form. In Tai Chi they talk about substantial, insubstantial. So there's always, and yoga also has this paradox, bringing together sun and moon, ha and ta. It's not different, it's very the same, and yet for all appearances, it's completely different. You take something that is, the founding principle is shanti, is peace, and then you come to this, what we understand of martial arts, which is an art of killing. In yoga, they'll talk about, one of the most famous mantras is, lead us from real to unreal, from the fear of death to the knowledge of immortality. So pulling this all together in our practice as Westerners, and this is the age where everything is available to us. So how do we actually focus in on what's important, focus in and actually bring out what is of most value, the essence of these teachings? Because the way the world is unfolding, it seems like almost no one is able to live these practices and demonstrate like the legendary mystical aspects of this truth. So it leads us to this place of disillusionment, as if all these teachers and all these teachings, they're charlatans and they never had or that it was never real. One of my teachers would say that there is no enlightenment until every child is fed. That's coming from a very real place. Certainly on a pilgrimage you go and you give alms, you give to the poor, but it still seems we're lacking in strength. It seems like you're on this transition, you're on this path. How are you really relating? How are you really sharing? How are we really bringing the teachings together and making a better world? Instead, the idea of transcendence is also something that you can't just go into a cave and become enlightenment. How is that going to help the world? How is that going to help you? Is it just some delusionary state? You might as well just check into Bellevue, check into a mental hospital, and go on drugs. That's not the path. It's not the heroic path of legend, and that's what we really want when we talk about the history and culture, the mystical history and culture. Where does it come together? How does it serve the individual? How does it serve humanity? So on the very basic level, the whole world is in crisis. There are organizations that part of the Heart of Yoga Association, like the Breath of Hope organization, and they, after the tsunami, they were able to galvanize and set up centers in Sri Lanka, in Bali, that were able to bring children and house children, orphans, and even their families, to give them a yoga practice that would somehow ease the trauma, somehow ease this fear and anxiety, and come back to a place where there could be a vision, a hope for the future.